Rita, an adventurous traveler, stumbles upon an old map pointing to a forgotten village deep within a dense, ancient forest. Driven by curiosity, she sets off on a journey to uncover the secrets of this mysterious place. As she approaches the village, a strange fog envelops her, making it difficult to see the path ahead. Upon stepping into the village, Rita immediately notices the unsettling stillness. The air feels heavy, and there's no sign of life, no people, no animals, not even the sound of the wind. The old houses are dilapidated, with broken windows and overgrown plants. Rita feels as though she's being watched, but when she looks around, no one is there. In the middle of the village stands a large stone well. As Rita approaches it, she notices strange symbols etched into the sides. They look ancient, worn down by time, but seem to pulse with a faint energy. She bends down to inspect them more closely and hears a faint whisper coming from the well's depths, calling her name. Rita feels a chill down her spine, but can't resist the temptation to call out. She leans closer to the well, her voice trembling slightly as she says, "Is anyone there?" The whispering intensifies, but now it's not just a voice. It's many, all speaking at once. Suddenly, the ground beneath her feet starts to tremble, and a cold wind whips through the village. Startled, Rita looks around and catches a glimpse of movement in one of the old houses. In a window, she sees a shadowy figure watching her from the darkness. Before she can react, the figure vanishes as if it was never there. Uneasy, Rita feels an overwhelming sense of dread, but decides to investigate further. With her heart racing, Rita approaches the old house where the shadow had appeared. She pushes open the creaky door and steps inside. The house is dark and damp, with cobwebs hanging from the ceiling and broken furniture scattered across the floor. As she ventures deeper into the house, the sound of her footsteps echoes eerily in the silence. In one of the rooms, Rita discovers a series of old photographs hanging on the walls. They show the village many years ago, bustling with people. However, there's something unsettling about the photos. Each one has a strange, dark figure in the background, barely noticeable at first glance. Rita steps closer, and her unease grows as she realizes the figure is in every picture. As Rita studies the photos, she hears the unmistakable sound of footsteps coming from behind her. Her body tenses as the steps get louder, but when she spins around, the room is empty. Her heart races, and she starts to feel like the house itself is alive, watching her every move. Panicked, Rita rushes toward the front door, but when she tries to open it, it's locked tight. She pulls on the handle, but it won't budge, as if something on the other side is holding it shut. Fear begins to set in, and she frantically looks around for another way out. With no other option, Rita spots a small, cracked window in the corner of the room. It's barely big enough for her to fit through, but in her desperation, she squeezes herself out, cutting her hand on the broken glass in the process. As she lands on the cold ground outside, she hears the whispering voices again, this time louder and more persistent. After escaping the house, Rita notices that the village has changed. The buildings now appear more decayed, and the fog has thickened, making it hard to see more than a few feet ahead. The streets feel narrower, and strange symbols start appearing on the walls of the houses. Rita feels the presence of something watching her grow stronger. As Rita moves through the village, the whispering voices return, louder this time. They call her name, urging her to stop and turn around, but Rita knows better than to listen. She quickens her pace, feeling the whispers growing more aggressive, as if whatever is calling her is getting closer. Ahead, Rita spots an old, dilapidated church with its heavy wooden doors hanging slightly open. The church is the only structure in the village that looks untouched by time. almost as if it's been waiting for her. Despite her fear, Rita feels drawn to it and cautiously steps inside, hoping to find answers. The church's interior is filled with religious relics, dusty pews, and candles that seem to flicker on their own. But there's a strange, oppressive atmosphere, as if the place holds a dark secret. At the altar, Rita notices an open book with pages full of cryptic symbols, similar to the ones she saw outside. She feels a chill as she steps closer. As Rita inspects the book, she suddenly hears faint chanting coming from the back of the church. It's low and rhythmic, like a ritual being performed, but when she turns around, there's no one there. The air grows colder, and the feeling of being watched becomes unbearable. Just as Rita decides to leave, the church doors slam shut with a deafening bang. The sound echoes through the building, and Rita feels a surge of panic. She rushes to the doors, pulling with all her might, but they won't open. The chanting grows louder, as if the walls themselves are singing the ominous hymn. While searching for another way out, Rita notices a loose stone in the floor near the altar. She pries it open to reveal a hidden staircase leading down into the darkness. With no other choice, she descends into the crypt, hoping to find a way out. The air grows colder as she goes deeper, the faint sound of whispers returning. The crypt is lined with ancient graves, some marked with the same strange symbols Rita saw earlier. The walls are cold and damp, and the air smells of decay. As she walks further, she notices that some of the graves have been disturbed, their lids ajar. Fear gnaws at her as she realizes she's not alone down here. Suddenly, one of the graves creaks open, and a shadowy figure begins to rise from within. Rita freezes, her heart pounding as the figure slowly moves toward her. It doesn't make a sound, but its presence is overwhelming. The air grows colder with each step it takes, and the whispers turn into a deafening roar in her ears. Desperate, Rita sprints toward the exit, but the passage back to the church seems to stretch further away with each step. The figure behind her moves silently, but its presence is suffocating. As she runs, she hears a voice whisper in her ear, "You shouldn't have come." Panic surges through her, and she knows she must escape. After what feels like an eternity, Rita bursts out of the crypt and back into the village. But something is different. The village is even more decayed, with entire buildings collapsed into rubble. The fog is thicker, and the sense of being watched is stronger than ever. Rita realizes she's still trapped in this nightmare. Rita runs back to the well, hoping for some kind of answer, but the shadowy figure is still following her, looming just behind. As she reaches the well, the figure suddenly vanishes into thin air. Rita feels a strange pull toward the well, as if it's the source of everything that's happening. Rita leans over the edge of the well, and the whispers return, but now they're clearer. The voices seem to be telling her something, guiding her to do something she can't quite understand. As she listens, she begins to feel lightheaded, and her vision blurs. The well's pull grows stronger, almost as if it's calling her in. At the edge of the well, Rita realizes she has two choices: fight to escape or give in to the curse of the village. She feels the weight of the decision pulling her in both directions. The voices from the well grow louder, tempting her, but deep inside, she knows that if she succumbs, she'll never leave this place. Rita takes one final breath, and her decision is made.